morning, everybody. Welcome to Immortal Gaming. This is me again, Marvin, and we're now here for another video for Ragnarok Origin. And this time we're going to be making the 2024 tier list for the third job classes. I'm not gonna include the second out job classes since, you know, in terms of we have seen it throughout the months that their powers and their damage output are kind of vastly different. Okay, so some notes about this. First and foremost, all of this are my personal opinions. Okay, don't get attacked if your job class is somewhere on the low tier or somewhere else. It's okay. These are all based on personal preference, my personal preference and experience. So one good thing, if your job class is currently on the low tier, maybe it's time for the developers to, you know, pump it out and, you know, boost the job classes so that you'll have more fun in the game. So most of you may not agree, I know, and I get it. You have different experiences. Yep. Those are all valid. It's okay. Many will have different tiers than what I have brought in this video. We always value and welcome personal input, so kindly share it in the comment section below, but please be respectful. Alright, so let's discuss about the legends here. The legends here, of course, S is going to be amazing, okay? A is for great. B is for still good, yep. Usable, very good. And C is okay, it's okay. Then D is like meh. Waste. Trash. Okay. Most of you already know what are those job classes that are going to be in their respective tiers. But let's start with farming. Okay, we're gonna separate this in 4 chapters. The first one is in terms of farming, combat time, monster annihilation, monster research. The second one will be on PvE in terms of bosses. MVP, TON, Temple of Nightmare, TSA, Time Space Anomaly, and Jupiter's Ruins. The third one will be Dimensional Drill. So that would be a small-scale PvP. And then the fourth one will be large-scale PvPs like Phantom Hunt, Guild League, and War of Imperium. Okay, so let's start with farming. And we have here, the first one is the Rune Knight. I would say Rune Knight is an S tier in terms of farming. Yes, you might say that the good part of farming is only when you activate your Dragon Sign. That only has a 10-second downtime. And even on those downtime, you have large AoE on your arsenal, so it's really good. And when you use Wind Cutter, it's so good. It's so good. It's AoE, it's ranged, and it's based on your attack speed. It has a lot of additional damages, so you're sure to 1 or 2 hit the mob. So very good in my opinion. It's S tier. Next is Warlock. I'm also gonna put it on amazing. Lots of AoEs. The cast time is like 0.1, 0.05, and you can even tone it down to like instacast. Elements, you have no problem. There are chances for you to have additional 100% versus the enemy. There's also a damage over time. You can cast different types of skills and it's all AoE, so it's definitely amazing. It's S tier, okay? For the Ranger, I would still say that it is great. It is A. I've seen Rangers farming on places wherein there are lots of mobs that are very far from the character, so only the Ranger can reach those types of spots and only the Ranger could farm on those maps. So I would still say that in terms of farming, the Ranger is really great. Okay. In terms of the Guillotine Cross, I would say that it is, it's okay. Okay, it's okay. The range is quite small. It's really close to melee range. And the AoE, there are AoEs, but in comparison with these 3 job classes, you know, I would say that it's okay. Alright? For Archbishop, I would say it's B tier. It's good. Since, you know, you still have your Magnus Exorcismus, and you have your Archbishop skills now, so that you could still deal AoE damage, I would still rank these 3 job classes higher than the Archbishop. Alright? For the mechanic, I would say that it is also great. You have to choose between melee AoE or single target long range. So it's still good, it's still very good, but not as good as these 2 job classes. Alright? So that is for farming, combat time, monster annihilation, and monster research. Let's go to the PvE bosses part, wherein MVPs are included: Temple of Nightmare, Time Space Anomaly, and Juperos Ruins. Okay, let's start with the Rune Knight. I would say that it is still amazing. It's very flexible. It's just that you have to change builds whenever you are battling different enemies. For example, in terms of Juperos, if you want more points, I would say that you go for Spear. But if you want easier maneuver, then of course, sword is gonna be the way. That goes the same way with MVP, TON, and TSA. If you want, easy life, go for sword. But if you want higher damage output, higher points, and easier clear, of course, it's going to be Spear. Nonetheless, the damage is crazy in terms of the Spear build. So I'm gonna rate it at tier S. Same as for the Warlocks. This is just the same as... No, it's not the same. For the Warlocks, I would also say in terms of MVPs, they have only one build to rule them all, and with that, they still deal tons of damage, so I would still go for Amazing or Tier S on Warlock. Next is Ranger. For Ranger, yeah, it's okay on this part. The damage output as compared with Sniper, they increased, but not the same as the power spike of all other job classes. So it's still okay. It's not great, but it's still okay, in my opinion. Okay, now for the Guillotine Cross, I would say that it is great. Particularly if you have already mastered the dagger build on your Guillotine Cross. But the downside here, why it's not amazing, is when you battle Shadow, Undead, those types of monsters that are not on the primary elements, you're gonna have lower damage output. So that's why I'm only gonna put it at great, but still nonetheless, very good damage output. So for the Archbishop, I'm gonna rate it at tier A. Of course, most of you would be saying that it should be S, tier S, because you need Archbishop in every party. Of course, I would always agree with that note. But please take note that this includes time-space anomaly. And in time-space anomaly, you need damage there. So in my opinion, the damage of the Archbishop is somewhat, okay, or somewhat good, but not great, not amazing in terms of their damage output. So that evens it out. It should be amazing if it's just MVP alone, TON, and Juperos, because you need Archbishops there, because you need a lot of support on those parties, on those contents. But considering that this includes time-space anomaly, then I would put it at great. Still very great. So next, the mechanic. I'm gonna go mechanic for amazing. The DPS is just huge. A lot of people would be agreeing with me on this. If you leave the mechanic with its cart skills alone on MVPs, it's gonna rule if you have the right talents on it. So I think the Rune Knight, the Warlock, and the mechanic is at par in terms of MVP, TON, Time Space Anomaly, and Juperos. Alright, so this is with regards to dimensional drill or small scale PvP content. Okay, so RK, Rune Knight. I would put Rune Knight on tier A. So most of you would be countering this and saying that they are amazing. They are tier S on the dimension drill. But take note, in terms of our PvP contents, we have this what we call the nebula path already. And that's the reason why sometimes the Rune Knights get overwhelmed by other job classes, is because of this, the class advantages. So take note that the mage and the magical classes like the sage, wizard, and the archbishops, they overpower the plate armors, wherein it includes the Rune Knights, the mechanics, etc. So that's the reason why, you know, sometimes, even though considering the power of the Rune Knight in terms of PvP, of course, they will be overwhelmed still most of the times by warlocks because of this class advantage. And that is the reason why warlocks are now tier S on Dimension Drill, particularly on small scale PvPs, is because they have rare counters. The counters on their armor is cloth. So their counters are mainly the bards, the dancers, and the rangers. And considering the damage output of the rangers as of the moment is kind of lackluster, and their numbers are very low in the population in terms of job classes, then that's the reason why warlocks are so good in Dimension Drill. So that is why I would go for amazing or tier S for the warlocks. For the rangers, okay, I'm sorry, but I would rate it as meh. We have already tested it in our guild. Although you can really dish out a lot of damage using the rangers melee build, but in my opinion, it's really easy to counter. Just pump up neutral defense or neutral resist on your character, and at the same time, they are kind of easy to kill considering that they only increase base defenses and the HP when they are on melee range. It's really hard on Dimension Drill in terms of using the ranger, so I would rate it as meh. Okay, next would be the Guillotine Cross. The Guillotine Cross are really good, still very good, particularly on small scale PvPs, but they can really get, you know, overwhelmed by these two job classes. That's why, even though their damage output is good, they're really sneaky and they can easily escape, you know, tight and clutch matches. I would still go put it at tier B. Okay, next would be the Archbishop. Of course, it's amazing. Every party should have an Archbishop. We have seen that in the first season of Thor's Cup, those parties that have at least one support among their party members are most probably gonna win, particularly if their support is really tanky. So it's amazing. Tier S for me. For the mechanic, it's very great too, considering that, you know, they have a different role here than to dish out DPS. I would still put it at great. So you have to choose here. If you want to dish out damage, you will be losing a lot of defenses and you will be on melee range. It's still good, but if you want, you know, to have utility, then Madogir is the way. So that's why it's tier 8. Okay? So that is for Dimension Drill. Let's go to the last chapter, which is the large-scale PvPs, the Phantom Hunt, the Guild League, and the War of Imperium. So let's start with the Rune Knight or RK. I would say in terms of the Phantom Hunt, the Guild League, they are very great. The reason for this is because you need to activate first the Dragon Zion before becoming lethal. So in my opinion, it's very great. It's kind of tanky, particularly on sword type. If you want to dish out damage and you want to be on range, then you would be using the spear type, but kind of handicaps you after you use Rain of Spear. So it's, you know, it's case-to-case basis. Sometimes they're very great. You need to charge up in order for you to deal a lot of damage and to gain a lot of kills. So I would put it at tier 8. Now, next is the Warlock. Oh my goodness. I would put the Warlock on tier S. Amazing. Okay, amazing. They could dish out a lot of damage with just one click. One reading spellbook and it's over for you, particularly if you have plate armor, if you are a blacksmith or you are a mechanic or Rune Knight, it's over for you. They can really one-hit you with just one cast of their skill. they also can, dish out that large chunk of damage in just a couple of clicks away. In terms of, escaping, they also have teleport, and with one support or archbishop with them, it's gonna be Armageddon. Okay, so that is for the warlock. The ranger, okay, I would put it at okay. In terms of utility, maybe. At statuses, putting statuses on the enemy, the reason why the ranger is really high on the KR servers because they have bewitch stats, wherein if you inflict bewitch on the enemy, it will force the enemy to go towards you, and that is really the reason why warlocks and the ranged units, warlocks and rangers, are really popular in KR server. But we don't have that in Taiwan server and global server. That's why it's just okay for me in terms of the rangers. Next would be the guillotine cross. I would say guillotine cross in large scale PvP is still good. If you have the right role, then you'll be very effective in helping the team or the guild achieve victory or achieve their goals. So I would put guillotine cross as good. Next would be the archbishop. Of course, archbishops are amazing. They have a lot of defenses, a lot of supports, and most of the times one epiclesis would save the day. It's just going to be so good in terms of large scale PvP. So archbishops are tier S for me. Next is mechs. Of course, mechanics are also great. Okay, tier A. They have a lot of utility. Their paralyze is really great. It's just like having an oblivion, but just within your grasp of your skill. So it's one of those most useful job classes in large scale PvP. So I would go for tier A on it. Alright, so I have also put a summary chart or summary table on the screen right now, so you may pause it, or you may pause it, or you may look at it for a couple of seconds. And if you are one of those servers that will be entering into level 100 levels and still are uncertain of where you want to go in terms of the third jobs, I do hope that this video and this guide has helped you. Alright, if you have further comments or inputs, kindly let me know in the comment section below. And that's it. Thank you everybody for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. If you haven't liked this video, please do leave a like, share this to your friends, and click that bell notification button so you get notified every time I upload a new video, start a new stream, or a new content. That's it. See you again on the next video. Bye-bye! Now I found you.